Hi, my name is Loren Locke. I'm an immigration attorney in Atlanta, and I'm answering a question from Reddit about somebody who's looking at entering the H-1B registration lottery this year. This is really for somebody from the employee perspective, but it's useful to employers as well as they're facing these same kinds of questions. The writer wants to know, do I hire the lawyer now before the registration or wait and see if we get picked? It's a great time to make sure you know who your immigration counsel would be if you win. And it would be a good time, I think, to hire the lawyer in advance. You have to pay the lawyer for that. The fees will vary depending on who you go with. Um, but if you're not willing to pay that part of the fee, then you really need to look at the cost of the entire H-1B process and think about if that's really something the company is ready to take on. Because if you do get selected, there's the expectation that you do go forward with the petition. It's not an obligation. Companies have not been punished in the past when they don't go forward with a petition that they're allowed to do. So, in some cases, circumstances will change and they really won't want to move forward with the petition. But they should really only do the petition if in March they're thinking, yeah, we definitely want to file a petition for this person so they can be here in H-1B status next October. It's hard to plan because, in recent years, the chance of getting selected has been well under 50%. So the company is making a plan that if we can get this employee, we definitely want to have them. But if we can't, we're also planning for that very realistic possibility. This writer says that they worry about if they're not selected, is that going to be like a black mark on their record? Is it going to affect their future travel? I would say everything you do, every interaction you have with USCIS is going to leave a record. So your name and your passport number are going to be tied to this H-1B registration. It's going to be on there. That said, it's not a negative thing to try, and entering the lottery and not making it does not mean you're not going to be eligible for other types of visas, and it does not mean that when you come later for a different purpose that they're going to assume that you still are trying to be a worker. If you are working, if you're in one of those gray areas where you're coming to the U.S. for business purposes a lot, that would make me a little bit more nervous that you could get questions related to it. That said, there are people coming from Canada all the time. Typically, it's not a huge grueling process to get admitted as a business visitor. Canadians don't need a visa in their passport to visit on business if they're not doing work that requires work authorization in the U.S., and I wouldn't expect that you wouldn't be able to just because you had an H-1B registration in your history. It's also something that CBP may have to do some digging before they'd see it. It's not going to be like a huge deal. It's not probably going to be the focus of your admission and what they're going to ask you about, I wouldn't expect. Can you still come as a business visitor after getting aced out of the lottery? I would say yes. That said, don't ever try to hide your immigration history because getting caught in a lie is extremely detrimental to your ability to get a visa or to get admitted in the U.S. That is like the worst thing you can do for your prospects is lie straight to the face of an officer who has the information on the screen in front of them about you. So don't ever do that. Does anyone have a recommendation for a lawyer who I could consult with and forward to the firm? This is an important question. When you are the sponsored employee of the H-1B, you've got to know that there are special rules. You can't pay for this process yourself. Your employer has to do it. Also, your employer signs everything. So your employer signs the petition. You don't sign the petition. So you can go ahead and recommend the lawyer that you think would be best, connect them. But it really needs to be the employer who is steering the ship because this is their petition. They're the signatories. They're the ones that are going to pay for it. So they have to make the choice, even if it's off of your recommendation. So best of luck in the lottery. May the odds be ever in your favor.